Would you believe me if I told you that Tesla is worth nothing? Now, obviously, there's a lot of hedge fund managers who would be very upset at this idea. Imagine being responsible for millions of dollars invested in the company that is responsible for a huge chunk of wealth of the world's supposed richest man. And imagine slowly realizing that it's worthless. Now imagine it's thousands of millions invested. The older I get, the more I realize how silly so many of the systems that are incredibly influential on everyday people are that most people don't understand. And if they did, they'd be horrified. And the stock market is one of those things that the more that I learn about it, the more I'm like, so the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Aside from the fact that the points are how we gauge the health of the economy and people lose their jobs and their ability to provide for their families as executives try and move numbers around to appeal to drug addled brains of coked up stock traders. It's so fun. The funny part about the stock market is that these numbers that they move around, they make those really public and they put so many numbers out that if you look at them, you can just kind of have them wash over you. Now, if you look at a company like Apple, which is probably actually undervalued given that they make the single most popular line of computing products in the world, because yes, phones are computing devices, and almost nobody who can afford one is ever going to go without one. Apple's market cap is 3.85 trillion. Their trailing price to earnings right now is 34.9. This number reflects the value of a stock compared to its actual earnings per share. This is a pretty low number. As I said, Apple, despite consistently overperforming compared to investor expectations, is a historically undervalued stock compared to how much money they pull in. Unlike other businesses that often have very convoluted models where they'll have loss leaders and they'll make back money on this, that, and the other thing, Apple generally makes at least 30% on almost everything that they sell. And the funny part is they don't actually dominate any market except for headphones because everybody loves AirPods. Every other market, they may own the high and mid ends of it, but they leave the low end for everybody else. Statistically, the devices are more reliable than most of the rest of what you can buy, and they work well together, which means that once somebody owns one Apple product, they're much more likely to in the future buy more Apple products because they're like, hey, I already know how to use this one thing. They're pretty consistent. I like the company, and my thing that I bought, 3 years ago is still working. Tesla? Tesla's market cap is 1.45 trillion, which sounds really great for Elon as he owns a bunch of it. But their trailing PE is 300.55. What was Apple again? 34.9. Why would Tesla stock be nearly 9 times what Apple's worth when judged on the same metric? I am pretty confident if you asked your average Tesla driver if they got into an accident and their phone and their car were totaled, they would be heading to the Apple store a lot faster than they would be heading to a Tesla dealership. Also, they probably wouldn't head back to a Tesla dealership because they probably already have a problem with the car and they're kind of thinking that they might want to switch to a different brand. Also, they probably got sick of telling people at parties that they bought the car before he turned crazy. The thing is, Elon is incredibly heavily tied to the Tesla brand. People are really tired of him. People don't like Elon that much. I mean, some people really like him, but not a lot of people do still. The line these days is that Tesla isn't a car company anymore. They're an AI company or a robotics company or a please don't devalue my stock portfolio company. But ask yourself, if you were a really smart person, the type of person who can figure out how to design robots or who can create machine learning models, why would you work for Elon? Why wouldn't you work for anyone else?